All right, my friends. It is June 19th, and I've been in rehab since June 1st, because in my last video, which was filmed May 31st, I was saying, hey guys, my name is Antoine and I fucked up pretty much. And I did relapse and I couldn't stop by myself. So, and because my support in Burlington is amazing, that's why I stayed there, is that if I would, God forbid, relapse, I wouldn't be able to get away with it for too long. So all my friends were like, what's wrong with this guy? Something's happening. And literally, it was to the point that like my friends Ensign had my location services on, because, I was like, well, guys, if you want to make sure this and that, you know where I am every time, right?
Yeah.
That didn't stop me. I had a burner phone.
Did you?
I had a burner phone. So I had this other phone. I bought a SIM card like an idiot. I wanted to go pick up drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know, right? So they think I would be sleeping at home and I'd be doing like a stupid shit,
Was this the first time? Was that your first time doing those actions?
With them, I had a slip in February, and I'll get to that in a little bit, when I had my ankle surgery. And I had another slip a year ago in May.
Okay.
But before that, I was good since 2016.
Yeah.
So I did have 2 years. I was pretty good. But and then a year, prepping for the Olympia, I was pretty good in the year before that. So yeah, so I couldn't stop, and my friends were like, pretty much like, hey, we know you should go to rehab. This and I told them at some point, like I denounced myself. I was like, yeah, guys, I can't stop. I want to stop. And at first I didn't want to go to rehab because I was like, all my contracts required me to do a certain amount of posts per month. And so I was trying to find a way, like an outpatient program, and it just wouldn't cut it, right? I called it 24 hours, 7 days a week, like hotline for addiction in Ontario. They said, oh, the only outpatient we have is it's called Adapt in your area. It's like one session a week. I'm like,
yeah,
that's not gonna make me accountable. So, because I wanted something that now it's called sober living house, where you go to bed there. There's some programs there, but during the day you can leave, and there's drug tests like once in a while to make sure to keep you accountable. But because it's private, the government, like the girl on the line, she didn't mention those. And I think it's good now that I came here, to be honest, because I've learned like a lot of stuff. Because rehab is great, because it's like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're kind of like cut off from the outside world. And it's not only to like keep you away from the drugs, because if you just are in a jail cell, you don't do any rehab, and you go back outside, you're going to go back out and do the same mistakes. Fuck, right. I've done 4 rehabs and I repeated the same mistake, but for different reasons. There's always like something to learn from relapses and mistakes you do, but at some point you're going to fucking get it, because how many relapses there are until you die, I die.
Yeah.
So, and just to give you understand like how serious addiction is. So I'm not going to name the person, but Monday, we are Saturday right now. Monday, that person left rehab after a 30-day program like I did. And to keep it short, she's dead.
Really?
Oh yeah, so she relapsed. Yeah, so what happened is that opiates, what kills the people is the relapse, because the body doesn't have any more tolerance. Then you go right away to overdose, and you pretty much need Narcan. Narcan is like a little push in the nose, or a shot that counteracts the effect of the opiates.
Yeah,
kind of wakes you up. But the person was alone, and sadly she passed away. So like we woke up to that this morning. Wow. And we all knew her, because in rehab it's like everybody kind of becomes like kind of your friends, and sometimes you feel like you're best friends in the rehab,
Yeah.
And So it's fucked up. Like, but in all the rehabs I've done, there's always 1 or 2 people that died that I know. And I've done 5.
Wow.
And I was telling the people here, like, hey, take it seriously, guys. Like, one of us will die within 3 years that you know here. They like some of them were like, I didn't believe, right? Took 5 days.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
it is serious. It's like people don't understand. It's like this shit like kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, especially opiates. Like you know, other drugs like alcohol, like it will kill you slowly. Like or you take an accident. Like other drugs like stims, that will just drag you on forever, and then your whole life becomes shit. But like for a long time. So there's even more suffering if you think about it. But whatever. Like addiction knows the addiction doesn't discriminate, and all can kill you, and all different substances can make you suffer and make your life miserable and unmanageable. And sometimes the drugs are behaviors, like sexual, like food, and could be anything, right? But yeah, to go back to me, so I, like, so sad for that person, and like it is always, it's like you don't get used to it, but now it's like it's always surprising, but it's like it's not like out of like character in around the rehab and the recovery world, right? Yeah. So it's sad. So God bless that person. I hope that person rests in peace, and I'm just very sorry for all the people that loved her. Wow. Yeah. So anyway, so going back to me. So I came here for 5th rehab, 30 days. Because the thing is, I didn't lose. Like usually I would go to rehab and I would reach like a super low rock bottom. Like I would lose everything. Like my last rehab, I was like homeless, was beat up, like emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. Like, I don't know if you see the scar there. See the scar? No, it's here. No, it's here. Do you see it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know where it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that it? Is that the right side?
Yeah, right there.
Okay. So that was open. I thought my eye fell out, and so I was beat up physically also. But that was a blessing because I don't think I was stopping anytime soon. I was always saying, I'll go to rehab in 2 days. I said that the whole 3 months I was like going to rehab in the next few days. I would try so that I escaped the rehab. Like there's one of them. I'll do a quick story. I go into the rehab, and they're like, "Man, you're too messed up. We can't have you."
Really?
Yeah, they said that. So you got to go to the hospital and have some type of detox for a few days and then come back. So they gave me my phone, my wallet. They sent me to the hospital, and then they take my arm and they put 12 vials that they had to fill up with my blood on the table. I'm like, whoa, like, give me a second there, like. And then just before that, they were like, we got to take your temperature. So they take this little thing, like, we'll put that in your rectum. I'm like, I said, do you want me to do it or the girl? I said, I want the girl. And then the guy just was, I'll do it. Like the guy was what to do. I'll put that in my butt myself. Put it in my butt. It was a freaking nightmare. And then I'll see all the vials and my arms were all busted already. Anyways, I was like, you know what? Just give me a second. I'm having a fucking stressing out here. So he leaves. And then 20 seconds passes, fucking ripped everything off my chest. The thing goes flatline because, then I pick up my clothes, everything, pick up my stuff, and I run. I was running to the hospital. And the girl said, wait, your health card. Grab the health card, run. And I jump in a random bus that was there. And then I was like, I found somebody that drove an hour and a half, picked me up. Then I kept partying for like,
oh my God,
whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how sick I was. And so I was worse in that sense before, but this time around, I didn't lose everything. The main thing I lost, to be honest, is trust from all my friends and Sam and people around me, right? So that sucks. And I lost respect, all these type of thing. And the rock bottom this time was more of a spiritual rock bottom. Because I'll mention something real quick. So when I said, okay, I found a rehab, because I was calling, right? I found this rehab. They will allow me to be able to do my contract requirements, like like rider wear posts and things like that, Asian muscle. So that's why my content for the whole month of June was like kind of like the minimum. I did my best, and I think it was all right, but it's not my usual like stories every day that I'm doing. It's like people like, well, maybe it's his bicep they're thinking, but no, it's a lot more than that. The bicep is like, that's like,
Nothing.
this is a small, this is a small problem. Like, that is my bicep tear problem. And this is like my other problem, right? So I was, that's okay. Rachel, I found the rehab. I'm going to go. They're going to allow me to do a little bit of work every day, as not a favor, but how do you say that? Whatever, special favor or whatever. And so I found it, guys. Okay, so and then in my head, Rachel had her own boundaries. She said, I don't want you to be here or help you unless you go to rehab. So I was like in my head, she didn't want me to sleep there because the last slip last year, I had my own detox at Dorian and Rachel. So I really thank them for that. And all my friends love me. They've been there for me. I really appreciate it. So, the way they feel right now is valid. It's my fault. But now in my head, I was like, okay, she doesn't want me to sleep here. I'm going to go home because I didn't bring any drugs with me. So I'm going to go home, use a little bit that I have left, then I'll come back. But she was like, no, where are you going? So I'm going home. No, you're not going. And I was like, fuck, I was like on the spot.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, I said, no, I'm just going to go. Like, what? Then I was like, I was like already like starting to like realize like shit. Like, because the rest of my drug was there and it was a little bit left. Like, and I wanted to do is I'll do the last bit and come back. But she literally put her foot in the door. The door was watching. And I was like, kind of getting angry. I was like, shit. And I was like, just let me go. I was like, get out. And then she said, no. So we'll come with you then. I was like, and then obviously they knew what was up. And I knew they knew. So I was like, kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place from my perspective as an addict back then. So pretty much what happened is that I had to choose between my friends who love me, who care for me, want to help me, or the drugs.
Right.
Like, I could have left, but that would have been literally a fucking suicide, pretty much. Like a friendship suicide, social suicide, spiritual suicide. Would be like pretty much like I would like just choose the wrong thing, blatantly, choose the wrong thing, obviously, and in front of them. I couldn't do that. So I said, after freaking out a little bit, I said, okay, I give up. And I sat down in a chair and I just was looking up and I was kind of like, just like moving a little bit because I was like in my head, all I could see was the drug remaining underneath the couch where I hit it. And all I could see is that. And I was actually, there was tears running down my face and I was crying, but not like sobbing, but just like tears were running down my face. And I was like, I was angry, but not because I couldn't do it. I was angry because I realized like, holy shit, I'm that much like addicted to it.
Yeah.
I thought like with time I would be better. And I thought like, I'll do the rest and come back. Would be like that, would be like me controlling it. But stopping not on my terms was like, maybe have a mental breakdown. Like for 40 minutes, I was like in that chair crying, like realizing like how powerless I was over it. And at first I was like not happy with that decision, right? But the next day, the next day, and I think we filmed together like 2 days after that. I was like, fuck, I'm glad I did that because the obsession like kind of like went away right away because I made like a good decision and I was like proud of myself afterwards. Because the thing with the obsession and addiction, you don't decide when it's removed. It's like it's a power greater than yourself who decides. Some people don't believe in that, but I do believe in. I believe in it more now that I'm back into like recovery and stuff. And so that was a crazy moment. It's like the way it felt on that chair. I could literally see like I drew it too. It's like this giant demon with like kind of like long red hair, like the face of an ant with purple eyes and like yellow like stain in the eyes. And it was just I felt like I was this big. I'll send you the drawing. I have a picture. You can put it in the video. I was like this big, and the giant was a giant, and that thing was like so angry. Was so angry that I was not. That it was losing power over me because that demon wanted me to fucking keep going and die.
Yeah.
But now he was losing. He's like, shit, no, he's not. I can't get him. I'm losing him. And then I just, because I chose the right side.
Do
the thing with me, huh?
Do you think if that same situation was what happened back in 2016, would you have like just left the house, gone do the drugs? Like, would you have given into that?
I was well, the thing is, I left Doran's house and Rachel's house once, 2016, to go get some, but it wasn't like they didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
But I wonder if I would have, because my mom, I escaped my mom. My mom would go to bed. I would she would have my phone. I would tell somebody in advance to meet me at 2 a.m. on the street. I would run in socks in the grass and just go in the car and leave.
Yeah.
I was that crazy. So if I think my mom I guess I was taking my mom for granted. I was not respecting her by doing that. Would I've done it to my friends? If I'd done it to my mom, I would have probably not done it right on the spot. I said, okay, yeah. I would have probably said some bullshit like, I don't want to go now. It's too triggering. Let's go tomorrow or later. And then they would have sat down. And then when they would have their guard down, I would have fucking bounced.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a way, right? So, yeah, who knows? I would love to say no, I would have not, but
you
don't know. Like, with my track record, if back then it was horrible. I was literally obsessed, like way more than now. Because the thing that I'm happy about now is that because I have all these years of recovery, because I started stopping drugs in 2015, and so my recovery started then. So that's like 6 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
And so I have all these years of relapses and recovery. So I am better now for sure, because what I did is by putting myself in Burlington with that support system, it's like my good version of myself we're taking precautions against my shadow self.
Yeah.
So it's always a battle in the head. Like, it's like a duality, that the good versus the evil, like, like the little angels and demon on each shoulder. It's literally like something like that. It's like, I am making a decision to go use drugs, and I am like doing pretty much the devil's work doing that. When I say the devil, I don't mean like Satan with a fork, I just mean like I am doing bad consciously, but also it's not me. That part of me is just like, it's not the real me. And gladly, the real me and the good side has always been a little bit stronger than the bad side, because I always end up making the right decision.
Right.
Going to rehab, or not picking up drugs, or But I'm glad that I chose my friends and I chose myself in my life over drugs, because I don't know. Because the thing is, if I would have went home, I would have used drugs, and then what are the chances I would have just stayed there a little bit, watch some videos, and then what if my dealer texted me at the same time or something like that?
Yeah.
Maybe I would have stayed there all night. Oh, guys, I'm gonna stay home, and they don't know where I live. I don't know. I would have left somewhere. Yeah, I'm staying home, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I could leave my phone there, because they had my other phone too now. So I would leave my phone there and bounce, and just, I don't know. Like I don't know. I've surprised myself before with shitty decisions that I've made.
Yeah.
And when you're like stuck in that loop, because it is a loop. There's literally like this whole month and a half, because this whole thing lasted a month or a month and a half. I'll explain how it started in a second. I made one bad decision. I did the rest of the month and a half was like me trying to stop, and then me changing my mind the whole time. So I would throw it in the toilet. I would sleep. The next day I would wake up, last a little bit, and then be like, just get some more.
Yeah.
So it is insanity. Yeah. I guess I am crazy, or I was crazy. Active addiction, for sure I'm crazy, for sure, 100%. So I needed a little bit of outside force to help me, get better and get my sanity back. And, it happened and it's happening. So let's get to why I relapse, and actually learn in this rehab that the relapse starts way before you pick up the drug. So there's warning signs going into it. And I'm still working on the homework on sorting them out and everything. But a warning sign can be, for example, when I start getting obsessed over other things,
right?
Like bodybuilding. So the whole time in 2020 that I was prepping for the shows, and because of COVID, it always kept getting postponed.
Yeah.
It was like the day was getting more stressful and more intense. And there were usually you do a show, you do like, okay, I'm gonna start, you're in good shape. You start the stuff 16 weeks out, and then you ramp it up 8 weeks out. Then you take a break if you qualify for the Olympiad, start again. And then you can do 1, 2, 3 shows in a month. So maybe you're 20 weeks of but you still have like another 32 weeks of resting if you don't qualify for the Olympia or whatever, right? So, but 2020 was like, I had like 4 weeks. I had 4 weeks when the first lockdown. I had 4 weeks before the Olympia after I had the show. So I pretty much prepped the whole year.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was nuts. And I was obsessed with that. And I would think about front double biceps all day in my head. And I would calculate everything like usual, but I would have to pose with fixed Twitter. And I was all day like thinking about that. I'm going to have to post tonight. It's going to be so hard. That was a little bit of anxiety. And I was pretty much losing my mind. And poor Sam, we started a relationship like at the beginning of COVID during that prep. So, I mean, we're still talking stuff, but God will give me what I deserve, and that's all in my head. But
wait, so are you saying because you were addicted to like the prep and the like prepping that is a warning sign for the addiction?
Let me clarify that. Okay. I wasn't addicted to it, but because I stopped, right? I stopped the show.
Right.
So what happened is that I was obsessing over it. So during this whole time, I was like, I don't feel like using drugs at all. Like it's been
right. Like, that's what I would. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't feel like using drugs at all, because the void that I feel inside that's been there since I'm a kid was being filled with something else. Right. So not by something I was addicted, something I was obsessing over. Because I know that addicted to bodybuilding shows are really hard. We can easily obsess about anything. People can obsess about work or things that are really hard or a certain period of time. So I don't think it's, in my head, it's not really an addiction, but it was more of an obsession for a time being. That there was an end date. But that's a problem. I was losing my mind, first of all. That was a problem. And then it was an end date. So I was filling up the void with the obsession of bodybuilding and contest prep, which was great for the shows. Bad for relationships, bad for this and that, like bad for a lot of other things, including my recovery, of course. So the show's over, Olympia's done, and I was already doing like a little bit of Xanax to go to bed, and then I was like, I kept doing that for 4 weeks. So that's another warning sign, like abusing prescription meds.
Yeah,
that was another warning sign. So, but what happened is that when the show was over, bang, I feel scared again.
Yeah.
I feel unsafe again, because my fear is fear of abandonment from a trauma when I was a kid, which is not like a big deal. But for me, it was. When my parents divorced, my dad wasn't there because he's an alcoholic. I forgave him for all that, because when you're a 20-year-old alcoholic having a kid, it's not easy. So I love my dad. I forgive him. But it's still, what happened still hurt me. So since then, I feel worthless, and I'm always unsafe. And I'm afraid that to be left alone, to be abandoned. So that fear makes me act out and do things.
Yeah.
Like, so when I use drugs, I don't feel that unsafe anymore. But the thing is, it's like I feel better, but the crazy thing is that my fear it ramps up, which is crazy. So I start like freaking out more about that thing. It's like pretty much I have like abandonment phobia. Like people with arachnophobia, the fear of spiders, it's a little dust would fall on their shoulders. Spider.
Yeah.
But there was never a spider there. So I would be seeing abandonment where it's not even there, so it's bad in the relationship. You look like a fucking, it's not the best. So, yeah, and then with time of me, like, I was like so unwell, trying to manage my life. I did a few meetings and I was like, it was too far gone into the process of relapse. It's like I had momentum. And then I don't remember what happened, how I got it. Oh yeah. So I was pretty much relying like, I can't party because I got to train in the morning with Big Mike.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing that was holding me back pretty much almost at some point. And then when I got my ankle surgery, couldn't train for a few days. I fucking slipped. But then I started training again with Big Mike. So I was like, okay, fuck. I won't tell anybody. I cut myself, and I'll be fine. And my relationship was like kind of like rocky a little bit. Like, was not sure because who the fuck wants to be with a psycho like I was, And from my point of view, I was like, why is she doing this? She doesn't give a shit. But that was my fear. There was nothing wrong going on. I was like, it was in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, wow. I feel bad, but yeah. So, and then when Big Mike started training me again, I was good because I was like, I'm gonna fix it. I'll get by myself. Nobody knows. And then at some point, I don't remember what happened. Oh yeah, fuck! I was about to move end of April, and then I got sick. I got sick in the throat. I was like, okay, I'll stay home, quarantine. Yeah. Don't go to the gym. So I was back.
And you're alone.
Without training in the next morning.
Yeah.
And my recovery was only relying on my training, of the fact that I was accountable to the gym, to Big Mike, which, by the way, is furious. He's furious. And I understand. I wasted his time and I was disrespectful. This is what drugs gotta do. Like, I just become a fucking failure, like a nuisance. Like when I'm in recovery and I do videos like that and I share stuff, I'm an inspiration. When I use drugs, a nuisance. It's that opposite. It's that polarized like that. So yeah. So and then I was using drugs, and then I was also trying to move at the same time. Yeah. All my furniture, dehydrated, and I was trying to rush and stuff, and then I would sometimes go and pick up drugs and come back and not move, just be obsessed about something on the computer or on my phone because, that's what I would do. And then I was like, it's funny, but it's nothing at all. During the move at some point, I just tore my bicep.
Crazy.
So it's like people think, people might think, the bicep tear is why you relapsed. No, the bicep tear probably happened because of their relapse.
Yeah.
So it's like I lost another 6 months of my bodybuilding, a whole year pretty much. So, but the thing is, the surgeon said I had diseased tendons, so it was bound to happen.
Wow.
But really, am I gonna tell my no? It's like if I would have said properly, ate properly, and fucking not be like, I can do this myself, obsessed, on drugs, and then I felt abandoned by my friends because I was like, you have to quarantine, but still they don't care about me. Then again, my fear was projected somewhere. There was nobody in that. But in my head, I thought I would felt offended and I felt hurt that I had to stay home, right? Because that's my fear. And then I projected. It's irrational. So that's what happened for that. And then once I tore my arm, I was like, oh shit. I was kind of fucked. I was like, shit. Then I went to see the Dr. Khan, fucking not sleeping. I was like, I don't know, you have to go back in the video. I wasn't straight for sure. I was pretty mangled there, but I would know that I would arrange myself so I'm not fucking out of whack, right? So I was I can keep my shit together, but people already know me as why does he look like he skipped 1,000 meals? Why does he look like he lost 15 pounds in 3 days? So yeah. So I did that, and I did a surgery, and I pretty much the only day that there was a few days I would try to stop, a day or two and stuff, and and my friends tried to support me, and Sam, she was there during the worst part. And like it's like it was a. It's like thank God she was there because she was like slow. She really slowed down my role there. It was there to help me, but pretty much one of the few days that I didn't use, I went to bed, slept 3 hours, and then did my bicep surgery. And then Antoine said at some point, he said, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't," because I told him like, "Yeah, I've been using drugs." He said, "Maybe you shouldn't fucking go under. What if you don't wake up? Because you didn't tell the what's his name, the guy who pushes to sleep, anesthesiologist, that you took fucking all these drugs." And I'm like, "Fuck." I don't want to postpone this. I've already waited 3 weeks more, like a week more than usual. Usually I did a surgery after 14 days. That's been 3 weeks. So I called the hospital. I said, "Can I do it awake?" He said, "Yeah, it's not, required, but you can do it awake. We'll just put a lot of sedatives in you." I'm like, okay, so a lot of sedatives sounds better than being put under. Maybe still be conscious. My risk of death is a little bit lower.
Yeah.
All right, I want to do it awake. All right, okay, we'll do that. So I go there, and I think I was probably tired because I lost my memory, and I didn't hear any funny stories. I said things. I guess it was all right, but I did the surgery supposedly like semi-conscious.
Yeah.
So that's so stupid, right? It's like, why would I party all the way to the? It's like I could stop. Like if I could have stopped, I would have stopped way before, and I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then after that, shortly after, this is when I went to Dorian and told them, and then I went to the rehab, and for freaking my arm is better now. Like see that?
Yeah.
But for 2 weeks in rehab, I was like with a sling, fucking like just being like, all right, I'm in rehab. This is great. I got one arm in rehab, and I'm coming off drugs. But it took me. I slept a little bit at Rachel and Dorian before we rehab. So I mean, the 4th day that I was clean, I was like, I was good. And now actually, mentally and everything, like I feel better now than I felt the whole year.
Good.
I told you before that too. Like I feel better now than I've been like in, I don't remember when.
Wow.
So I was like, why was I not doing all that? So let's see about why all this happened. The relapse that started before I picked up the drug, right? Because like addiction, my addiction started at that moment as a kid that I was traumatized and the fear was created and the feeling of being unworthy and feeling not good enough and the fear of being abandoned. My addiction started there. It didn't start when I picked up a drink at 17 or 18 years old. It started back then. It just kind of like, and then I used something. I was like, oh shit, I like that. And I didn't like drinking. It's more when I started doing raves at 20, I was like, whoa, this makes a lot of sense. I like that. My brain registered that. So I was feeling like shit, pretty much. I found something that I liked. My brain remembered, and then the wire was made. The wires were like connected, and then it's like Pavlov's bell. You ring the bell, the dog salivates. I feel bad. I want to do something exterior to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And then the habit became an addiction, and then shit fucking hit the fan. But yeah, so let's go back to what happened. So COVID happened, and then the meetings were Zoom. There were no meetings. So I was like, I feel good. I don't feel like using drugs at all. I'm tripping. I'm good. I don't want to do Zoom meetings. When I say meetings, it's 12 steps meeting. They're like a support group for addiction that are free, and we all help each other. There's AA and ACA. There's a lot of them. So I was like, usually I go in person, and that's what I do on the outside. That was the base of my recovery before. So I was like, nah, I feel good. I'm not going to go. And the Zoom meetings, I don't like it. Then I had my slip a year ago, and I tried Zoom meetings, and no, I don't like it. Stupid. So I'll just do my step work with my sponsor, and should be good. And I was good for a little bit because of prep. So I didn't do meetings. So I had pretty much zero recovery. I had zero recovery program.
Right.
So that's what happened. And I was complacent. I stopped wanting to improve myself spiritually and in my recovery program. So when you're complacent, that's a warning sign, you know? So now I know a lot of stuff, and I'm working so much on like in this rehab, I'm learning a lot about my thinking errors. Now I catch myself, like, for example, sometimes I'm really black and white thinking. Because of it's either that or that, you know, all or nothing.
Yeah.
It's good for sometimes when you train for a show, it's like, let's go all or nothing. But with other things in life, it's not good at all. It makes you do like a lot of mistakes, and you can hurt people in the mistake. And at first you don't realize it. You think you're right. I thought a lot of time I was right, but I was wrong. But I thought I was right. But I thought I was right, but it didn't feel right. I'm right, but it doesn't feel like I'm right because I was suffering. So now I spot a lot of that. Another one sometimes is like, I would stress, it was called fortune telling. Like, no, he thinks that. Yeah, I'm doing this. He said that. It's probably because he's like this and he doesn't give a shit about that. Example, I'm making shit up. Why would I be able to read people's minds?
Yeah.
So it's like I would overthink and go in a direction and give myself like stress and anxiety and be angry. So that would be another thinking errors. Another one that I've learned is the fear of betterment. Before, I would think the example with my friends, like not liking me and be like, you got to quarantine. I would take it so personal. It's like, my friends don't love me. They don't care about me. I really felt like that. Like I'm like, I was hurt like when I was abandoned as a kid by my dad and not getting enough love and stuff. I felt like that. I was like so hurt. I was like, they don't give a shit about me. Like, fuck, why? And I was so angry and sad at the same time. My friends love me.
Yeah.
They were probably doing their own lives, and Antoine's taking she's a quarantine, must suck for him, you know. Like, I wonder if he's okay. You know, they would think like that. But then I would be like, they're not even calling me. No. But they would a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like, it would not be enough because my fear is too much. So now I am aware of things like that. Like sometimes if like something happens, I'm like, I go like, oh, it's probably just like I'm more self-aware now of these things. I thought I was self-aware before. I was for a lot of things, but not everything. I probably not everything right now anymore, maybe ever. But now these mistakes I've done, I'm learning about them. So yeah, so rehab is good for that, because when in your daily life right now, Alora, you would have time to learn all this, do all this therapy and be like around, because we're a bunch of like residents here like, with recovery addicts and, you know, and so we're stuck with them, and sometimes my patience is tested, you know, like one time something happened, some guy I was sharing, you know, because I like to share, you know, I want to, you know, but sometimes I share too much sometimes, because right now I'm talking a lot, like so I could do that in there, but I try to catch myself and not do it, right? So, but some guy just cut me off because he was tired, started reading his thing. I fucking was so upset. I was like, this guy doesn't give a shit about like the recovery, about their group. He doesn't give a shit about any of us. And then I was like going on, right? But pretty much he was like, just like his wife's mom was dying that day. He was like, he lost patience. I was like, why? Because he's a human. So I say that I called my sponsor, Aaron. I was like, Aaron, he did that. So how can I feel better about this? He said, well, see it as an opportunity from the divine. God is giving you a gift, a challenge, like Big Mike gives you a set. You're going to do your set. I was like, thanks, but fuck you, you know? Because he's right. Like, but in the rehab, you're around these things and you got all the support to deal with these factors. So people like you are really busy working, or I, especially in prep, I didn't have time to realize all that because I didn't even think there was anything that much wrong with me. But in rehab, you're like, there's something wrong with me. And then you're open-minded to like the counselors, what they say to you and stuff. And so, yeah, so that's why, you know, I'm more willing, and it's weird. Sometimes you say, I wish I would have learned that before, but okay. I guess I'm stubborn.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty warm in here. I should have put the fan back.
So to end it off, like how many days do you think you're going to be in there, and what can like people see? Like, is there going to be like a new Antoine coming out? Like what?
New Antoine.
Yeah,
No,
like what?
there's going to be the real Antoine coming out, and I'm coming out June 30th. And at first, I was going to do 2 weeks and 1 week out. The first video was talking about that.
Yep.
But then I found a way to like this right now. Like I found a way to tell them, like, listen, I would stay 30 days. Just give me a little bit of a leeway to like do my certain videos for my YouTube for the guys, right? For everybody. So they said, yeah, I mean, we can do that. We'd rather you to do that than you leave and come back because of COVID or whatever. And it's not protocol. So
that's good.
Yeah. So this video, the video from I filmed last, I will release. I released now because it's in the future, but for you it's now in the past. I released it July 1st. And this one, I think I will release like July 5th.
Okay.
And there's like, I think I'm going to do 2 or 3 more coming up or following up.
Nice.
So yeah, I want to explain what happened to show my mistakes to the people and also like be accountable too.
Yeah.
You know, because I think with me and content, I've always tried to be transparent. And throughout the year, I guess I thought I was, but I was going through shit without knowing.
Yeah.
I should have been on the ball. And now on the way out, I'll have to do like, I have all this program and all these, the warning signs. And I just have a plan, a discharge plan installed. And I have my support system with my air, my sponsor, with the meetings. It's like, if I do that for today, because it's a daily program, until tonight, stay clean and sober, and I fucking give my all to that, and my priority is getting sober, and I catch my thinking errors, because that's a big part of it. I noticed my thinking errors with my relationships, because it all stems from like my first relationship that was broken with my dad. All the ones after that are based from that. So now that I'm more aware of that, it's like I can spot my thinking errors and the way I see things, and plus the recovery and the tools I'm going to bring out of here. If I do that every day, I'm good. But if I stay complacent again, it can go back, because that's what happened. I'm not immune after this. So I don't want to come back to fucking rehab. 6 rehabs? 5 I think is more than enough. You know, so on the way out, I mean, I'm going to work a lot on my recovery, but usually when I do that, you know what they say? They say that if you put your recovery first, after that, everything is first class. Pretty much that, you know, it's good. Or another one I like is that anything you put over your recovery and your priority, you will lose. Because if I put bodybuilding over it, like I did, boom, I lost it. You know, things happen, and if I would have kept going, lose everything. I've done it before twice, so I could lose everything again. So pretty much, I knew how to recover from drugs before, but now I know how to relapse after being good. So I've learned that. So thanks, Alora. And so that's Alora from B3 Media. Follow her on Instagram. She's the best videographer. I keep posting that lately. So I believe it, for real. And
I appreciate you.
Yes, of course. I love you too. And so people, thanks for watching. And in my next video, I will also maybe give an apology to everybody too. You know, kind of make amends publicly. Because, you know, I could have done better for, you know, as far as like my content and everything. But that's, you know, most important right now is for me to be good today, you know, and better things to come. But thanks, everybody. Subscribe to my channel. Comment below, and press the like button. Whatever, you know what? That doesn't even matter. Just be yourself, be happy, and do your best. All right, see ya.